We welcome you to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the site for our CAA Game of the Week. Somebody is going to be tied atop the CAA standings with Delaware at the end of the day as the Stony Brook Seawolves 3-0 in conference play come here to Philly to take on the Drexel Dragons, also unbeaten so far in the conference. What's going on, everybody? Alongside Marcus Holman, I'm Travis Eldridge. Marcus, two unbeaten teams so far here in the early part of conference play. A big game for both of these programs.
No doubt a chance to join Delaware atop the CAA standings, as you mentioned. I think we're going to be in for a real treat today. I imagine a tough game, probably a 1 or 2 goal game, and some tough plays all over the field.
First ever meeting between these two programs, obviously new conference foes, but they never played out of conference, so some unfamiliarity between these two. Taking a look at our players to watch on the Drexel side of things, Luke Tomac coming off a season-best 5 points a week ago.
Yeah, Tomac's skill was completely on display last week. 4 goals, and he added a helper with an assist. You can see him scoring in a multitude of different ways. Here he had a nice lefty sweep and kind of paid the price at the end of that, taking a hit and finishing. You know, a lot of attention, I think, has been drawn maybe on other guys on the Drexel offense, but Tomac definitely stepped up. Here he attacked a redodge and finished 1 5-hole on the keep. 6'2", 180. He's got a lot of size, and he can shoot and score with the best of them.
For Stony Brook, Matt Anderson scored the game winner with under a minute to go to beat Towson last week, 1 of 4 goals.
Yep, and, again, someone who maybe is not coming into the season as a highlight. So much of the attention is on Dylan Palinetti, and rightfully so, but Anderson's really stepped up. 4 goals against Towson last week. Let's see if he can keep that streak going into today's game.
Anderson, a draft pick in the NLL by the Philadelphia Wings, so he's here in Philly. Very well may play some professional lacrosse in Philadelphia as Drexel wins the opening faceoff, and they'll get the first possession here today. Step down shot, and it takes no time for Jack Mulcahy to get on the board. Just like that, less than 40 seconds in, it's 1-0 Dragons.
Yeah, Mulcahy, it's funny, Travis. We really didn't call his name too much last week in their game against Fairfield. He was pretty quiet for his standards, but obviously, a fire may be lit under him personally, and he comes out of the gates storming here. A nice righty sweep and finish.
Yeah, Mulcahy held without a point in the win against Fairfield last week. Asked Brian Volker about it as a face-off win and an early stop by Ross Blumenthal in cage. Rebound is loose. Ground ball here in the corner. Drexel able to come up with it. They're starting close defenseman Brendan Greenwald. But back to Mulcahy, asked Brian Volker about him without a point last week, and he said, look, he did a lot of good things. It just didn't quite come to him. The openings weren't there, and we said, hey, Jack, we're okay with that. Like, play within yourself. Don't try to force it. We get the win. The offense looked good. It didn't matter.
No doubt, and that's a sign of a mature player, and I think great coaching as well, right? Empower guys that don't force the issue if they don't need to, but, in big games like today, I think they're going to need him to step up.
Jump shot, and that one is stopped. Backup will stay with Drexel. Sean Curcio in there as part of this midfield unit, along with Mulcahy and Tomac.
Yeah, and I think just a general key for Drexel as a team is just limiting turnovers, right? I know that's kind of generic, but in their 3 losses, they've had 23, 18, and 24 turnovers. Those are well above their average.
Right on cue, we see a turnover here at the offensive end. Stony Brook picks it up. And that's another thing Brian Volker told us this week is in this 4-game winning streak, it's really been about playing simple, like keeping things simple. Don't try to overthink it. Don't try to force it. Make the easy plays. And that's what Drexel has done. Winners of 4 straight coming into today. Here is Matt Anderson, part of that starting midfield unit, along with Noah Armitage and Will Button. Both Anderson and Armitage, both with 18 goals already this year. Big numbers out of the midfield here for Stony Brook is now we see Dylan Palinetti, the standout attackman, as his shot is ricocheted, deflected on its way in. Palinetti, though, able to pick up the loose ball around midfield. Still 25 seconds left on this shot clock for Button and company. Here's Blake Balin, part of the starting attack unit. Now back to Anderson. He goes to the bouncer, and Stony Brook evens things up. So Anderson picking up where he left off against Towson. He's got the first one today for the Seawolves.
Yep, and I was going to add my keys for Stony Brook there is just going to be to continue to share the ball and take some pressure off of Dylan Palinetti, right? And Anderson right where he left off, right? Just a hard righty drive here, leans his shoulder in, and that nice twister finish. You can see down that alley, you really have to bring that stick a little bit more towards your left shoulder to shoot overhand to increase your angle, and Anderson does a nice job and finishes there.
We've got a whistle on the faceoff that will go against Renz Conlon, the faceoff man for the Seawolves. So Drexel possession. Been a good battle so far between Justin Joseph and Conlon at the faceoff X today. Both guys coming into this game over 50% on the year. Second midfield unit on here for Drexel. Ben Scandone joining that unit, along with the freshman Jack Joyner, as well as the junior Zach Augustine. Here's Connor Hooley. Had a great freshman year so far. Scandone. Look at a spin back. Now he's back to the right hand, top of the box. Step down, shot and a laser to the top shelf. Augustine with his 5th of the year.
Augustine with the hammer, a lefty overhand. And what a pretty possession by Drexel in their second midfield unit. You know, those guys are, again, those are key units and just those are small victories over the course of the game. If you can get your second midfield unit on and they can get a goal or a couple during their shifts, that'll add up and make the difference. And that was just pretty offense sharing the rock, and nice finish there from Augustine.
Got Scandone picking up the assist, his 4th of the season. Another freshman who has been a contributor here for Drexel. Face-off win is scooped up by Palinetti. Now he's got some issues with it. Saved right along midfield by Stony Brook, but he had a bounce. Balin was able to pick up that loose ball. Let's see what the call is here on the near side.
Looks like it might be a man up for Stony Brook.
Yeah, we got a flag down.
Didn't quite see the flag.
It's
going to be hard to hear the referee over the sidelines. You can really feel and hear that energy.
I was about to say, that was actually a mistake by Palinetti at midfield. He could go back over that midfield line for the first 20 seconds of the shot clock, even after the face-off win is moved forward. But it doesn't matter because Stony Brook ends up with a man-up situation here. Yeah,
and that is a subtlety of the rule book that I wish I would see some more teams exploit, whether it's in a clear or off a face-off. Like, you have that full 20 seconds to cross the midfield line. So if you cross early, you can go back over into your defensive zone, just as long as you're in before the clock hits 60.
You got another flag down, going to come on that push. It's a 1-minute slashing call on George Grippo, so a 1-minute extra man. They're about to go man up again here as Palinetti shoots, and that'll trigger now a 6-on-4 advantage for Stony Brook.
Yeah, just a little too aggressive there on that ground ball. Ended up in it push with possession. And ironically enough, Travis, like, these 6-on-4s aren't as easy. You don't really practice them that much as a man-up unit. So, like, sometimes you can try to get too cute. But if I'm Stony Brook, just step into your 8-yard shot and hammer that thing.
Palinetti down on the doorstep, and they cash in. No problem here. It's Armitage with his 19th of the year, and we're knotted at 2.
Or you can let your best player throw a skip pass from top center to a pipe, like Palinetti did there, and that's a little bit of an easier finish for Stony Brook.
Yeah, that also works.
Just a little bit of a righty cycle, and then you see Palinetti just 15-yard skip pass right on the ear, and he continues to rack up points, his 50th of the season.
So it brings us back to even strength, as that was a even strength face-off, one backward by Drexel and Joseph. Loose ball in the middle of the field, and it's Stony Brook who comes up with it. There's Michael Sabella, the senior from Mount Sinai, New York. And now Palinetti, right hand, it's just high.
Sabella's got some wheels down there, just picking up that ground ball, and even on the prior possession, I like his aggressiveness as a defenseman.
His sister, also a terrific lacrosse player, Raina, playing on the Stony Brook women's lacrosse team. Obviously one of the best teams in the country once again this year. Sean Carlo, part of that second midfield rotation in there for Stony Brook, as Balin's got his man hung up here. Balin rolls near side. Nice check. Right as he comes around by Patrick Udovich. Now Ronnie Kramer trying to dodge from way outside. Back to Palinetti. Tough shot on a tough angle. I think that rung the bar. And yes, it did. It will reset the shot clock to 60.
Yep, saw the referee giving that twirling motion of his arm. Palinetti just a little bit high early on his shooting. Uh-oh.
That was a great look. Good recovery there by Udovich and Drexel, as Kramer had it right there on the doorstep. Now shot wide by Caleb Pearson.
Ooh.
And no backup.
Those are just killers as an offensive coach, right? Nice job by Drexel on the recovery on that pick slip. Stony Brook with a hard dodge, but you don't have backup. You don't have field balance. And sometimes that can happen with those second or third midfield units, right? Where guys just are a little bit out of position and essentially a turnover going the other way.
Here's Mulcahy giving it up. We haven't mentioned this Drexel attack unit much. Sean Donnelly leading this group, along with Connor Hooley, the freshman, and Max Semple, the Canadian finisher, the sophomore, as Casey Waller dodges from up top.
Yeah, it's a pretty balanced unit for Drexel. You got a lefty Canadian. Donnelly's kind of a slasher guy. You know, he can go both hands. Hooley's a righty.
Here is Donnelly, gets inside. Now he sends it behind to Hooley. Good ball movement here from Drexel, really trying to get the defense moving. Shot just high there by Donnelly.
No doubt. That rock is spinning on the offensive end. Looks like they want to go into an invert here. Expect an early slide from Stony Brook, probably from the crease.
Mulcahy gives it up. Bounce shot, and Donnelly able to cash in. Great play as Mulcahy sets up Donnelly, and Drexel's back in front.
It's funny, I mentioned Sabella's aggressiveness on that last ground ball, just firing upfield to pick it up. But here, I don't know if this is one he needs to slide to necessarily, right? That slide right there allows, right, Drexel's attackman to just kind of hang out. It's an easy read. Donnelly's able to just follow that slide and turn the corner. So maybe that aggressiveness needs to be honed down a little bit. Just maybe a smarter slide, I think, would have helped Stony Brook there.
So we talked about Mulcahy being held off the board last week. Well, in the first 3 goals, he's got a goal and an assist now. And how about this balance for the midfielder, reigning CAA Offensive Player of the Year? 11 goals now and 12 assists.
Yep. And he just seems to be the type of player that can kind of do whatever the defense kind of allows him or provides for him, he can do. If he needs to be a feeder, he can do that. If he needs to go get his own, he will.
Here's Joyner spinning back to that right hand. Now Sean Curcio, top of the box. Augustine skips it down. Donnelly just took his eye off of it. Looks like he's got time. He does, to track it down in the corner. Still 24 seconds on this shot clock for Drexel. Curcio able to handle that low pass. Now time winding down. Joyner step down shot just wide of the goalie Jamison McLaughlin, sophomore from Syracuse, New York.
Under 10 seconds. We'll see if Drexel's going to take a chance here.
4 seconds. Hooley trying to put something in front. That'll go over the sideline. Shot clock was going to expire anyway.
Yeah, and smartly played at the end of the shot clock, just taking kind of a low angle east-west shot, right? You see the ball go out on the sideline there. That allows Drexel to snub. They get their D-Midi on, and he's contributing to a turnover here in the ride.
Great hustle by Drexel, and this is what you expect from this Drexel program. However, I guess they said that was last touched by the Dragons. The ball went out of bounds.
Yeah, it looked like Drexel forced it out, but no home cooking for the Dragons here.
So it is Stony Brook ball. Matt Anderson gets it into the attacking zone. First midfield back on along with Will Button. Here's Anderson. Palinetti, by the way, riding a nation-best 38-game scoring streak. He's got an assist today, no goal yet, but he has been virtually automatic in scoring goals.
Yeah, and 3 shots already. I mean, it's almost just a matter of time, before one of those falls. That is super impressive to be able to have that longevity as a goal scorer and consistency.
Here is Palinetti, and doesn't get that one to go. Blumenthal got a piece of it, and he keeps it out.
Yep, nice save there by Blumenthal, holding that pipe, staying big. And, I think those are the shots that Drexel is okay with. They're going to live with that low-angle shot from Palinetti with his weak hand. Nice hustle.
Casey Waller ended up sliding right in front of the Stony Brook bench, and the bench made sure he heard it.
He might have got a flag for that. Yeah. Push with possession.
Those were unfriendly confines he found himself in on the Stony Brook sideline.
Tell
you
I
what,
love it.
I am a big fan of Stony. There are a couple of different schools on Long Island, but one of the great things about the Stony Brook website is their roster, when they list out where players are from, they don't say New York. It actually says Long Island for the guys that are from Long Island. It's a differentiate. There are guys that are technically from New York, but those are guys that aren't from Long Island. There's a differential on the roster of where they're from.
Might as well be its own state, to be honest. Definitely one of the meccas of lacrosse, and Stony Brook is certainly a program that has pride in being from Long Island and keeping kids, homegrown. And
great save by McLaughlin.
And they play with a lot of pride. And I think about greats like Stephen Waldeck and Kevin Crowley. They've produced a lot of professional talent and guys that, care a lot about the school and the program.
Oh, for sure. Pass back on the other side as the penalty now expires. Loose ball, and it's kept out.
Dive. Woo!
Great hustle play on the sideline.
We love a dive out. Absolutely love it. Conference season. Every possession matters, right? Sell out for your team.
I believe that was Christian Lau, the senior from Smithtown, New York. Or I should say Smithtown, Long Island. And it gets Stony Brook possession as they kill off the penalty. And just over 3 minutes to go in this opening quarter. It's 3-2 Drexel, 1-goal game. Anderson down on the doorstep. Oh, Blumenthal kept it out. Now it's shot wide. That was going to be one for the highlight reels from Jonathan Huber.
Fantastic feed there from Anderson on the sweep.
Balin now back to Button. Draws this slide. Now Balin's got the pass. He's looking for Huber in the middle, and it comes all the way out toward midfield. And it's scooped up by Drexel. Chance to go. Semple's pass intercepted. That was a pretty read defensively. And it comes right back. Yeah, it was Sabella again, right back to the Seawolves on offense. Oh, good cut.
Wow.
And a score. Armitage with his second of the day. We're tied at 3.
Nice look there from Blake Bellin, kind of in that slow secondary transition. Right, the back and forth element of that loose ball and Sabella coming up with it. You can see Drexel just kind of spread out. No one on the crease there to help out. And a huge momentum swing there, because I think if that pass gets through, that's an easy dunk for Drexel. But Sabella kind of with the, I think of it like scaling the fence in a baseball game and robbing the team of a home run.
Face-off win by Declan Mitchell. He goes right in and shoots high. So a couple of face-off guys we've seen so far here for the Seawolves. We've seen Mitchell take a couple of face-offs. Conlon has taken a majority so far here in this opening quarter.
Yep, and there's one thing I can be sure of today is that those face-off guys are going to be wearing the correct colored gloves.
Yeah, what did you think about that call last night, Marcus?
I think there's a lot of opinions out there, and I don't really have one on it, to be honest. So I just, it's a rule, so got to play by the rules, I guess. And what an odd scene.
I have a feeling there are two opinions out there. There are those of Maryland fans and those of non-Maryland fans. I think that's a pretty easy way to break down the in favor and not in favor. Is that one squeaks through. Huber from distance, and Stony Brook has a lead.
Jonathan Huber, I think I heard some iron ring there on this overhand shot from the lefty wing. Huber coming into this game second on the team in shots. He's only behind Palinetti, so he's not afraid to let it rip. And here you see gets his hands free. I love that overhand release. He kind of keeps his hands low, and then at the last second brings it with the overhand. Really tough to read and a nice finish.
I think we got a loose ball push here that should give this ball to Drexel. It will. Yeah, Huber transferred from St. John's. This is second season playing here with the Seawolves. Last year, 40 goals. Actually, this is his first season playing with Stony Brook. Last year in the Big East at St. John's, 40 goals, tied the program for most in a season. So Stony Brook adding a guy who is a finisher by definition to this roster.
No doubt. If you're scoring 40 goals anywhere, that's impressive. You probably average around 15 games a season. So, you're hovering around that 2.5, 3-goal mark per game.
Second team All Big East selection last year. Now 17 goals this season. Is Drexel trying to hold for what is essentially the final possession of this opening quarter.
You hope, but then you turn it over like that.
There's Sabella again off the ground. And there's plenty of time for Stony Brook to get a look here.
Yeah, go ahead, push, play fast.
And they do, as that one is sent into Blumenthal's stick. 14 seconds to go here in the quarter. Drexel quickly the other way. Here's Hooley. Shot wide. 5 seconds left for Drexel. Semple will go to get it. Just going to have to send something in front here, see if he can get lucky. 2 seconds. Just before the buzzer, does it count? The officials are going to get together. It does.
Wow.
Drexel beats the first quarter horn, and they tie it up at 4.
Holy cow. What an incredible pass from the Canadian Max Semple on a dead sprint. Travis, it looked like he was going to try and air gate this. I thought when he put the stick in one hand, he was going to try and jump over the right there. but kind of just blindly throws it into the middle.
And it's
Holy cow.
Charlie Maley, the long stick midfielder, who's got his second of the year, and that is how we close this opening quarter. So what an entertaining way to kick things off here in our CAA Game of the Week. We're all knotted up at 4 here from Philly. Here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, thanks to Delaware's win here earlier today over Fairfield 17-7. They are now 4-0 in CAA play. Winner of this game will join them at 4-0, and we're all tied up at 4 apiece here after one quarter in Philadelphia as Stony Brook wins the opening faceoff, shoots wide. Another good look for Declan Mitchell. He's had a couple of those straight off the faceoff. Stony Brook will keep the possession on the backup. Travis Eldridge, Marcus Holman with you once again here on Lacrosse TV.
Yep, and a pretty balanced first quarter there. You know, I think two different styles. Stony Brook's had longer possessions. They've had more shots. Drexel's had kind of all or nothing possessions. It's either been a goal or a turnover for them. They only have 10 shots, but they've scored 4 times. So
nice
looking forward to it. Yeah.
Across to Anderson. Blumenthal keeps it out. Now back to Palinetti. Goes one-on-one. Feeds in the middle. Anderson's stick was deflected as he tried to get that shot off.
Nice look by Palinetti. Working that island, rolling back to his right hand and looking inside.
Button shoots wide. You're just joining us, a back and forth opening 15 minutes between these two 3-0 teams, both winners of 4 straight coming into today. Both playing some of their best lacrosse here over the last couple of weeks. Anderson never got the shot off, and do we have a flag down? We do. They get the push, and it'll be another man-up situation for Stony Brook.
Travis, it looked like the ref made the slashing symbol. Oh, no, guess he's got him on a push, yeah. It's going to be 30 seconds, man up. Look for Stony Brook to maybe run that righty wheel that they ran on the previous man up. Palinetti will probably work his way to that top center position where he can kind of quarterback this man up unit.
1 for 1 for Stony Brook. They scored on a 6-on-4 man up in the opening quarter. Now 14 man up goals this year. Came into the day 43% on the extra man. Pretty good percentage as Palinetti's shot stopped by Blumenthal, and he finally collects it. He was looking for a whistle. He finally gets one.
That's a big-time save by Blumenthal, just staring down the barrel of Palinetti, who received a nice skip pass. And we mentioned, Blumenthal, kind of the scout on him, at least watching last week against Fairfield, was gobbling up low shots. Palinetti kind of testing him high there, and Blumenthal able to answer and showcasing his skill as a goalie, right? You got to make all the saves, not just the ones that are low.
Yeah, Blumenthal got off to a kind of slow start against Fairfield last week. Stags are putting up some big numbers early, and then he really settled in that win as that shot is stopped by McLaughlin. Mulcahy diving across, and it ends up in the stick of Stony Brook.
I think McLaughlin heard us talking about Blumenthal and was like, yo, there's 2 goalies on this field. I can make saves too.
Both goalies right around 53% in the save percentage on the year. Talk about Blumenthal, guy who was actually splitting time with Drew McGill at the beginning part of the season, similar to what was happening last year. And Coach Volker talking about how he really has stepped up his game here and down this stretch. And his 4-game winning streak kind of directly correlates with when Blumenthal kind of took over that full-time starting role as Palinetti shoots it wide. And great hustle play there to run it out to the corner by Maley. So he gets the goal, and now he makes the nice run out to secure the backup.
Love it. Yeah, that goal at the end of the quarter was incredible. I was like, dang, that must have been one of Drexel's attackmen on that finish. It was soft hands, quick stick, and of course, scrolling down the roster, I couldn't even really find Maley's name until about halfway down.
Yeah, the long stick midfielder from Colorado. Also, that's only Semple's second assist of the year, much more known for his goal-scoring ability, but that was a beautiful feat.
Hey, I don't know if that's in the playbook, though. Dodge to your weak hand and just chuck one to the crease with one hand on your stick, but it worked.
When it works, it works. Dodge by Hooley, gets inside, but McLaughlin is there on the near post. No problem on the clear for Stony Brook. They'll get the offensive midfield unit on. No goals yet in this second quarter, still tied at 4. Palinetti coming into today, 8th in the NCAA in goals per game, 3.5 a contest, but just with an assist so far in this one. Anderson dodging downhill, gets the hand free, and he goes top shelf.
Anderson just going to work on the short stick. Interesting. I'm not sure if that was maybe a switch in the flow of the offense, but it looks like Drexel's just electing to put a short stick on Anderson, which is kind of surprising after the week he had last week. Here, he just works into the middle of the defense, right? I love the hesitation in the middle of the field. It just freezes all the adjacent slides, and then he kind of hits the gas again, and he's able to get to 10 yards with his strong right hand and just buries the corner.
Violation on Stony Brook here at the faceoff exit goes against Mitchell. So Drexel possession. Anderson, 4 goals, including the game winner against Towson last week. He's got 2 here in the first half today.
Yeah, if I'm Tucker Durkin, I'm probably making that adjustment and trying to get the pull to him, right? Just a guy that's playing with confidence.
Well, and it's also, I think it's tough because you got Armitage, who also has 2 goals today in the midfield. So then you have to decide, do we decide that one of the attackmen is worth putting a short stick on?
Could be an option.
Here on the near side, it's Joyner. Working from behind, Donnelly. Yeah, he's called for a ward. Had that offhand, at left hand, he extended it. Turns it over for Drexel.
Yep, for any first-time lacrosse viewers out there, you're not allowed to use your free hand to ward or push off a defenseman, right? Unlike football where you can stiff arm, that's not legal in lacrosse.
That was a weird bounce. Comes back to Hubert, down on the doorstep, kept out by Blumenthal. I think it probably was going to be a crease violation anyway, as the goal did not go in. George Grippo quickly ahead. Now Mulcahy has space. Good recovery by Stony Brook defensively.
Like the pace to this game. Both teams are just playing fast, right? Not afraid to push transition. I think Stony Brook maybe rushed a little bit too much there.
Hooley spins through a couple of blue jerseys. Semple one-handed, stays out, and it's a crease violation.
Semple's just trying to get on SportsCenter top 10 all over the place.
Need some big-time rebound plays as Stony Brook brings it back into the Drexel end. Blake Balin will settle it down a bit.
Yeah, probably going to want to take a good possession here, run some offense. Offensive coordinator Mike Chanichuk. It's funny, both the offensive coordinator for Stony Brook, Mike Chanichuk, and the defensive coordinator for Drexel, Tucker Durkin, 2 amazing professional players that have had great careers. So kind of a fun battle within the battle there.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent on the coaching staffs on either side. Obviously, Brian Volker had a terrific playing career in his own right. Anthony Gallardi, the head coach for Stony Brook, played at Ohio State.
Yeah, it would be a good little three-on-three tennis ball battle.
Yeah, don't forget about Stephen Boyle, the offensive coordinator for Drexel. As Connor McVicker picks up the ground ball after another save from Blumenthal. Up to 7 saves now today.
Yeah, Blumenthal really kind of settling in and honestly establishing himself as one of the best players on the field. He's just been consistent, and he's the reason Drexel's in this game for sure.
For some fans of the CAA who've watched a lot of Drexel over the year, probably feels like Blumenthal has been here forever. Kind of has. He was starting as a freshman.
Wow.
And he's just been hanging around. Obviously has a COVID year to use as well. So what a career he's had. Part of course, was a very big part of the CAA championship and NCAA tournament berth for Drexel a couple of seasons ago. Scandone has an assist today. That pass just a little off. But there was a flag down, and we are now going to get a man-up opportunity for Drexel.
Yep, just heard an offsides from the officials.
Christian Loud going to the box for that.
Balanced group here for Drexel. You got Semple on the left side, who can finish with the best. Donnelly's a good feeder. Mulcahy can feed, and then you got Tomac on this righty wing who can bring the hammer.
Yeah, Tomac leading the way. 5 man-up goals this season for Drexel. Instead, a different midfielder here as Curcio has it stopped by McLaughlin. And he's now got 4 saves on the day. And they will kill off the rest of this penalty. So just the one shot for Drexel and another man down killed by Stony Brook.
Yep, big save by McLaughlin. Again, as a coach, like when you go man down, you probably are going to accepting the fact that you're probably going to give up a shot, right? It's about giving up the shots that you want and from locations that are helpful to your goalie. And I think if Stony Brook could pick out of those 6 guys a guy to shoot, it's probably Curcio, who comes into this game with only 4 goals on the season. So
Huber, a step down shot. He's got 2, and Stony Brook has their first 2-goal lead of the day.
Huber with almost an eerily similar goal to that which he scored in the first quarter, where the ball is just matriculating through X. There is a slide drawn, and this defenseman just honestly isn't respecting his range enough. And that's something where, watching film and, the coaching staff can help you like, hey, this guy can shoot, but until you get out on the field and you don't practice against a guy that can stretch the defense like that, it's really hard to kind of adapt your approaches as a pole, and Huber makes him pay again.
It's another assist for Palinetti, now 16 on the year. That already has passed what he did a season ago. All-America East performer, and it gives you a perspective on how good he's been this year. At 34 goals, 15 assists last year for 49 points. Now 2 assists to go along, so 16 assists, now 35 goals this year. Still a handful of games left here in the regular season. Cooley picks up the ground ball in the corner, and we're going to get a timeout here for Drexel. Have 2 to use here in the first half. They figure they'll keep the possession with just under 5 minutes to go here in this first half. We will step aside. Stony Brook with a 2-goal advantage here in our CAA game of the week in Philadelphia. We welcome you back to Philadelphia. Lacrosse TV continues our CAA men's lacrosse coverage next Thursday night. Coaching legend Bill Tierney and the Denver Pioneers visiting the Towson Tigers. Opening faceoff set for 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see the game right here on Lacrosse TV. That the final regular season non-conference game of legendary coach Bill Tierney's great career. Going to be very cool to see him in action against Towson. Final season for head coach Bill Tierney, and what a career it has been. From Princeton to Denver, just unbelievable.
Just a winner and a competitor. No one more fierce on the sideline. Coach Tierney actually handed me my final collegiate loss. But just an incredible coach and a mentor to my dad, and what a career.
Oh, what a shot here right out of the timeout. Luke Tomac says, let's get this game back within one. Tomac's first of the day, a step-down shot, and Drexel's back within 6-5.
I was just going to mention prior that, it seems like whenever we intro someone, they usually have like a quieter day, but Tomac able to answer here, and it's Mulcahy with the skip pass, right? That looks easier than it actually is, folks. Throwing a skip pass, 25 yards when you're moving on the run like that. I would say that the king of it is Tom Schreiber, and Mulcahy doing his best Schreiber impersonation right there.
Oh, and a kind of miscue on the back end there by Drexel. Christian Loud picks up the loose ball. Stony Brook and Anthony Gallardi will take the timeout now. We'll keep it here as we are around 4.5 minutes to go in this opening half. A 6-5 Stony Brook lead. Both these teams had both timeouts left here in the first half, so they'll preserve the possession, the Seawolves. We mentioned Delaware at the beginning here of the second quarter. Delaware now 4-0 after a 17-7 win over Fairfield. That game just going final prior to the start of this one. A big game from Mike Robinson, 4 goals, 2 assists. Ty Kurtz, 4 goals and an assist. Just big days for that attack unit once again. And it really feels like, obviously, Delaware, the defending champs, all they had coming back, they're starting to find their groove. Them, along with one of these two teams, could be sitting atop the standings entering next week.
Yeah. All three of these programs doing a nice job just establishing themselves. Obviously, Stony Brook as the newcomer in the CAA. It was kind of funny reading through the notes that Stony Brook and Drexel have never played. I kind of just assumed, being East Coast teams that are only, an hour and a half from each other, they would have established some sort of rivalry. But here we are, at the beginning maybe of a new rivalry, and certainly been an entertaining game on the day so far.
Yeah, I mean, these two programs, we've seen Drexel duel it out with Hofstra over the years, another Long Island program here in the CAA, and it feels like Stony Brook really fits what the CAA has been known for, especially in lacrosse, as Huber spins, and I think that 1-8 was eaten up by George Grippo in the back.
Yeah, you could hear the ooze from the sideline. That's probably going to leave a mark.
But both these teams will play Delaware here in the next 2 weeks. It's Stony Brook who plays at home against Delaware next week, and then 2 weeks from now, Delaware Drexel, that game in Newark, Delaware. So we will know a lot here in the next 3 weeks as to where the CAA tournament is going to be. Top seed gets to host. As Blumenthal got some help from the post there. Rebound comes all the way over midfield. Because it hit the goal, Stony Brook can recover it on the other side, and back comes Dylan Palinetti.
Right, those are kind of the middle of the field plays that coaches are harp on during the weeks of practice. Loose balls at the midline, those are 50-50 plays, and if your team can come out with more pluses in those columns, you're probably going to end up with more possessions, which ultimately leads to more goals. So
I think we had a flag down at midfield.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Let's see. No flag. You're still even strength here. Just a stoppage of play. Palinetti trying to use the screen, but it's taken away by Colin Gukwa.
Got him. Got numbers. One more to Semple.
Kramer, and there it is. Max Semple ties it up at 6.
Those are juice goals, baby. It starts on the defensive end. Colin Gukwa just getting his stick out, putting the ball on the ground. Stony Brook's best attackman, Dylan Palinetti. And then he has his eyes up. He's able to roll away. And who else but Simple on the back end, just hanging out, catch and release.
Give the Calvert Hall product, Liam Kammer, the assist, his second of his career. As the faceoff win is picked up by Conlin, trying to float that pass across or shoot it. Either way, it stays out. And it ends up in the stick of McVicker.
Both the faceoff units for Stony Brook and Drexel have been just super aggressive off those draws, taking shots, pushing the tempo to goal. I kind of like it.
Another loose ball. This one is won by Stony Brook. Palinetti's calling for it.
I think they have numbers here. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They still have Christian Loud there on the field. He does have 4 points on the year, as I think we're going to have a timeout for Stony Brook.
Little hectic there. Coach has got to intrude and calm it down.
Anthony Gallardi pauses things. You know, this Stony Brook program, last year in their final season in the America East, they were not eligible for the America East tournament, despite the fact they ended up finishing conference play 4-2. They were in second place in the America East, but because they were on their way out of the conference rules stipulated that programs weren't eligible for the conference tournament. And talking earlier this year to Anthony Gallardi about that situation, he said it was honestly really, really hard, and he felt so bad for these kids. I give him a lot of credit. He mentioned just trying to keep things interesting in practice. He was giving the team off Mondays, not pushing them too hard because he knew how difficult the situation was, knowing you lost a couple of games in non-conference play. We're not playing in the postseason no matter what we do in America East play. And such a tough situation. So coming into this year, being 3-0 in conference play, having an opportunity to play in the postseason, he said you can really feel the excitement around the program, knowing we do have that opportunity at the end of the year.
For sure. I'm sure that, you know, the players, the seniors, the captains of this group are, you know, just foaming at the mouth now that they're in conference play. And obviously their record in conference kind of shows that. I think we'll see as they continue to get challenged by tougher and tougher opponents. But yeah, that's not an easy kind of, thing to manage as a coach or even as a player. Right. So, kudos to them for staying the path and, continuing on with it. And, all that we want as fans is what's right for the kids. I'm not sure that's technically a fair decision, for those kids, but they only have one way to go and to answer that, and that's to win the CAA in their first year. And, they might just do it.
Yeah. I mean, they are certainly proving that they've been up to the challenge, tied up at 6 here. Battle of 2, 3-0 teams here in the conference as Armitage sends it behind. Now Huber already with the pair of goals. As that one falls, it's Button falling down. The senior, his first of the day, and Stony Brook's back on top.
Big goal there for Button, and a big goal just for the Stony Brook team, right? Coach Chanichuk drawing up some flow out of a timeout. Last timeout they had, Palinetti got stripped right out of it. And here they're able to just get to the second level of the Drexel defense, right? And then Button with a hard take. No one's really ready to slide, and he capitalizes.
Face-off win by Joseph. He wins it backward. But some issues here once again for Drexel trying to clear off the face-off win. They do get it to Blumenthal. About 90 seconds to go in this opening half. And we'll get an offsides call.
Yep.
It can be complicated off that face-off X when the face-off goes backward. Getting the subs on and coordinating how many guys are on that side of the field. Is Palinetti going across?
That's right.
And who do they give it to? They give it to Blumenthal.
Another dive out. What a great play by Blumenthal. Again, that won't show up in the stat sheet as a save, but it almost should show up as a calls turnover by Blumenthal, right? Without that effort, Stony Brook retains possession. They can probably kill out this quarter, potentially score another momentum goal. So, like, that's just a huge play. I know it's subtle, but in the grand scheme of this game, it's a big play.
Yeah, and instead, now it's Drexel who essentially has the shot clock off here. The shot clock's not going to matter, and they can try to finish out this quarter with the final possession.
Yep, you want to initiate probably with around 20 seconds. Just make sure the ball dies in this end of the field.
That's something they did not do at the end of the first quarter where they had a turnover. They had Stony Brook going the other way for a second. Trying to not make that mistake this time. Nice move there, but a great strip check by Stony Brook. And it ends up in Michael DeSano's stick. 15 seconds for the Seawolves. Palinetti gives it up. Now he gets it back with 6. Palinetti, as he shoots wide. And with 2 seconds left, it's going to have to be a quick pass in front. We already saw one buzzer beater so far. We will not see another. So Stony Brook doesn't get one to go at the end of the quarter, but they do have a 1-goal lead after 2. A back and forth opening half. We're sure to be in for a good second half here at our CAA Game of the Week. Your score at the half, Stony Brook 7, Drexel 6. We'll be back in a bit for the third quarter, but for now, it's halftime on Lacrosse TV. Back here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just about set for the start of the second half here in our CAA Game of the Week on Lacrosse TV. Travis Eldridge back with you alongside Marcus Holman. And what an entertaining game we've had for you so far here today. Stony Brook with a 7-6 lead at the break as you get ready here for the start of the third quarter. And Marcus, I mean, back and forth, what we expected coming in between two teams that have won 4 games in a row and two teams that are both unbeaten 3-0 in conference play.
Absolutely, yeah. Both teams scrapping in the middle of the field, offensively, defensively. I think you look at the stats, and I think for Stony Brook, we have 36 shots, and only 3 turnovers. It's like, okay, let's just stay with it. Let's keep shooting, And then for Drexel, you look at their stats, it's like they have 11 turnovers and only 16 shots, and they're only down by 1. So it's like, for them, it's like, let's clean it up. Let's play better, and we should be winning this game. So I think both teams making cases, probably in the halftime locker room for how the second half's going to go, but it's shaping up to be an entertaining one.
Winner of this game will tie Delaware for the top seed at this point in the season at 4-0. Is right off the faceoff. It's Renz Conlon. He gives the Seawolves a 2-goal lead again.
And that's huge. And I think there are 2 statistical categories that might be the most important in lacrosse, and that's your face-off percentage and your goalie percentage. And Drexel outplaying Stony Brook in both of those categories. But here, obviously, this is huge, not only just for momentum, but for confidence for the rest of the half for Stony Brook.
Conlon's 3rd goal of the season. As we've actually seen Joseph, the Drexel faceoff man, have a lot of success at the faceoff X so far today, but we've seen both Mitchell and Conlon have opportunities right off draws, winning them forward, and they finally cashed one in.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, both of these units are aggressive off of wins, which is fun to watch. It's entertaining. I think a face-off guy popping a face-off forward is one of the most entertaining plays in lacrosse. So
Semple has it and gives it up on the wing. This is Luke Tomac. Just 1 goal in the first half after he had a first-half hat trick last week against Fairfield. Tomac draws the pull. Good defense there by Christian Loud. But it's out of bounds. Last touch by the Seawolves. Just under 30 seconds on this shot clock for Drexel.
Yeah, really nice approach there on Tomac. Stick out, right? A double team had been drawn, so you're kind of vulnerable in that position, but Stony Brook wins that individual battle.
And now they put it on the turf again, but this will be a whistle, and the Dragons will go man up for the first time in the second half.
I think they're going to get David Miel Estrella with a push from behind, maybe a cross check. I'm not sure if you Yeah, I'm hearing
push in the back. Yeah.
a push from the ref. Yeah, those, Miel Estrella in that kind of vulnerable position on those low wing dodges are so tough to defend because offensive players are allowed to dive in the crease. So, like, if there is any place to foul, that's probably it. That's one you might be okay with as a coach to prevent a goal.
Donnelly back to Curcio. Now Semple here in the near side wing. Drexel looking for their first man-up goal today. 0 for 2 so far. Donnelly trying to find that skip pass, and it was Loud who got a stick on Donnelly's stick, and he forces the turnover.
Great shift for Loud down that end. A couple knockdowns, calls turnover.
So Stony Brook kills off the rest of this penalty, and we're back to even strength.
Yeah, and for Drexel, it's, Donnelly, I think, just getting just a little bit lazy at the point there. You have to expect defenders to throw their sticks up into those passing lanes. So however you have to get it around that guy, whether it's moving your feet or changing your passing angle, those are crucial elements to being a good man-up unit.
His first midfield unit has been really productive today. 5 goals combined between Button, Armitage, and Anderson.
Yeah, they've been solid. And then again, for Drexel too, it's like, hey, we're holding the nation's 6th highest scorer out. He's over 12. Like, they're essentially doing their job in one category for sure.
Feed in front, just wide of Blumenthal. Yeah, Dylan Palinetti, a couple of assists so far, but no goals. That 38-game streak, every game with at least 1 goal, nation's best, currently in jeopardy. Still a lot of time left in this game. Yeah, Palinetti now 0 of 13 shooting.
If you would have told me he would have had 12 shots in the first half, I would have said one of those is probably going in. So I'm sure he'll continue to shoot, be the scorer. So, like we said, it's only a matter of time.
15 seconds left on this shot clock for Stony Brook. Armitage inverts. Liam Kammer, the short stick D-midi on him. 7 seconds. Armitage beats his man. Can't get it on frame. The backup is won by Stony Brook, but only 2 seconds left. I would assume this will just be a ball sent to the corner. Now he'll try to send it in front. It's intercepted by Blumenthal. You mentioned the face-off units being aggressive. I think that just describes both of these teams all up and down the roster.
Yeah, I like the freedom that the coaches kind of give, their defensive midfield units, their LSMs, push transition, man. I just think don't pigeonhole those guys as just, position specific. Lacrosse is a free flowing game, and it's moving that way at the, somewhat at the professional level, maybe the Olympic level. If sixes is going to be the format that's kind of showcased to the world, you want guys that can handle the stick, can run between the lines, make plays, give your players the freedom to take some chances.
Flip behind to Semple. Excuse me, that was Scandone. Now it's Joyner, top of the box. Nice move, Joyner, right hand, skip pass, and he finds Hooley. It's a freshman to freshman connection to make it 8-7.
Joyner does the dirty work, and Hooley is on the receiving end of an awesome skip pass. Nice redodge there by Joyner. Again, drawing the attention of the defense, right? We mentioned Mulcahy on that skip pass earlier, and that was very similar there from Joyner. Nice job. And that's a big goal for Drexel, just to get them back, get them flowing a little bit after kind of a lull for them.
And we've got a whistle, and it'll go Drexel's way. Loose ball hold as both teams battled for that face-off, and so the Dragons get the possession back, down by 1. First midfield back on. Tomac, Mulcahy. Reigning CAA Player of the Year, Mulcahy dodges. Now Donnelly back out top. Casey Waller part of this midfield unit. He's been rotating in a couple of different guys as Donnelly has room on the short side, and he scores. We're tied up at 8 on Donnelly's second of the day.
What a clinical offensive possession there by the Drexel Dragons. Guys sharing the ball, drawing double teams, right? Cutting behind their defensemen's heads, right? All of that lends itself to Stony Brook just getting lost and confused off ball. And then again, Donnelly just patrolling behind the cage and finishes with his left hand, shooting the ball low. So quick ball movement, body movement, that'll usually lead to success on the offensive end.
Well, and how about that cut by Semple that actually just cleared space out for Donnelly to be able to cut then behind him and make the play?
Yes, offensive coordinator Stephen Boyle will definitely be showcasing that in film this week.
Loose ball, and it's Donnelly again. Back-to-back goals, and Drexel's in front.
And I think that's Luke Carden, the pole on the assist.
Yeah.
Tucker Durkin will be showing this in the defensive film room. A pole all the way down in the offensive end, making plays in the ride. And Donnelly just cashing in. Johnny on the spot. Donnelly on the spot, we should say.
And we have a timeout for Stony Brook. They want to talk things over. 3 consecutive goals for Drexel. And just like that, they're in front 9-8. We'll take a timeout as well. 9:32 to go here in this third quarter. Drexel with a 1-goal lead. 3 goals in just over a minute for Drexel, and they have taken a 9-8 lead here early in the third quarter. Out of the timeout by Stony Brook after that third straight goal. It's another loose ball that comes into the Seawolves' end. Ground ball scooped up by Kammer and the Dragons. So that's that timeout for Stony Brook, really just trying to stop some of the Drexel momentum, but they keep it going with a face-off win.
Yep, and this is, a huge possession here, right? As a coach, a great term that was coined and used a lot by a good friend and coach Adam Gittleman is no turkeys as a defense, right? Turkey, a bowling term, 3 strikes in a row, right? Drexel's on the cusp now of a turkey +1. Look out.
There's Semple. Oh, we got a whistle before. And I think there was a push in front. That'll wave off the goal. Will not count. It's going to Stony Brook.
I think Drexel had a player run in the crease.
Oh, man.
Maybe he might. I'm sure Coach Volker's arguing that he probably got pushed in the crease.
Yeah, there was a play I saw it out of the corner of my eye. A player got pushed across the middle, and that's when the whistle blew. That's a big break for Stony Brook.
Big break, yeah.
See if they can make it a 2-goal swing. Skip pass back outside, and Huber does. Jonathan Huber is 3rd of the day, and we're tied at 9.
Really nice offense there. Going to give a shout out to Sean Carlo, I think was the initiating dodge who kicked the ball through X. And then Huber just able to slide in there, find that soft spot, right? Being a great lacrosse player isn't necessarily about how fast you are, how big you are, or even how hard you can shoot it. It's about getting open for your teammates and then finishing on your opportunities, and Huber's done that today.
Justin Joseph promptly wins another face-off for Drexel. He has done a nice job at the X, keeping the ball, the offense for Drexel, especially here in the second half so far, as we near the midway point of this third quarter.
Yeah, he's settling in. I'm seeing 13 wins out of 20 attempts, right? Like, let's see if that will just wear on the Stony Brook defense. It seems like Drexel's playing with a lot of confidence offensively.
Mulcahy Now Donnelly working from X. Tomac has it stopped by McLaughlin.
Big save. Got him. You got numbers.
Here comes Dan Newton in transition. Gives it up. Palinetti. Good response there by Joyner to get back. But Huber's wide open on the doorstep. Back-to-back for Huber. And he puts the Seawolves back up by 1.
Huber again just finds himself in a soft spot here in transition. Huge stop by McLaughlin down the other end. And I love Palinetti's patience here, right? He snaps his head around. You can see on the crease right now that defenseman 2v1, right? Palinetti's looking through the defense, but he just pulls it back to his lefty counterpart there, Jonathan Huber, who finishes with a nice low to high, snappy release. Stony Brook back in command now.
Palinetti's third assist of the day is the faceoff's won by Codlin. Big hit, ends up in the stick of Palinetti, and it draws a flag.
Moving pick, I think that's going to...
Now trigger the penalty.
Yep, and you mentioned Palinetti, you know, his third assist of the day. You know, Coach Girardi talked about he doesn't care about stats. He said that Palinetti is here to win. And he said that when your best player is your hardest worker, you know, that's usually a great sign for a coach in a program, and they have that with number 34. And wouldn't it just be ironic if this is the day that that goal scoring streak comes to an end, but he's filling up the stat sheet in different ways with his feeding ability.
Man up situation, and there's one for Huber again. He's got 5. It's a season high for Jonathan Huber.
It's the Huber lab out here. He is absolutely cooking. And he's just showcasing, right, his ability to shoot. If his hands are free, again, this is his third from that same exact spot on the same exact rotation with that ball coming up from goal line extended. So, man, he is just letting them fly today.
By the way, if you're wondering, Jonathan Huber's career high, 8 goals against Marquette last season when he was playing at St. John's in the Big East. This is a big face-off for Drexel as McVicker had a chance at it, and they called a trip. So possession for the Dragons, now back down by 2. What a response by Stony Brook.
Yeah, wow. We're just going back and forth here. Big plays all over the field. Every little play matters at this point, right? Halfway through the third, every turnover becomes bigger. Every failed clear, every run out, every save, right? McLaughlin, I think, there on that transition goal, like everything adds up at this point.
Donnelly back out top of the box. Mulcahy. Now Scandone. Under 30 seconds left on this shot clock for Drexel. Find themselves down by 2 again after they had taken the lead. As there's a great pass by Semple on the doorstep. Donnelly gets it to go, and it counts. Wow.
Donnelly, I think his third straight for Drexel.
Fourth of the day.
Yeah, just sneaking around the crease. Great vision by Semple to see through the defense there. Just kind of making chicken salad out of out of not a great situation. And who says he can't feed? What is that? 2 assists today? That doubles his season total.
Yeah, what I'm going to say, how did he come into this game with only 1 assist from what we've seen here through 2.5 quarters?
Big-time players step up in big games.
Another face-off win for Stony Brook. Shot wide by Conlon. He already has one today, looking for number 2. But Stony Brook smartly has the backup there. That becomes a safe shot as they keep the possession As Dylan Palinetti a chance to go back to work. Got to give a lot of credit to Colin Gukwa, the job he's done. He's matched up with Palinetti for a good majority of this game, and the sophomore has been terrific.
Yeah, for sure. He's, again, you know that Palinetti's going to get his hands free, going to get shots, right? But it's limiting his looks, making him take right-handed shots, which he's probably not as comfortable with. And, you know, Fuqua knows what's at stake. He knows that if he can limit Palinetti, he's going to help his defense out.
Still plenty of time on this shot clock as Blumenthal eats it up low. But deflected, McVicker picks it up in the corner. Yeah, that's a big-time play for Drexel to try to get this clear.
Might have numbers, yep.
Maley already with one. Oh, he had Blumenthal on the doorstep. And a push along the end line, and that will give it to Stony Brook.
Dang, I thought Maley was just going to pull up and shoot there. I think he froze Donnelly with his windup, right? If you're an attackman on that low spot of goal line extended, you see a defenseman windup, you've got to start in your head thinking, well, I got to back the cage up. And that can kind of throw off the timing of your footwork and kind of a wasted opportunity there for Drexel.
Well, this game has lived up to the billing. It's going to test the depth of both of these teams. This has been a high-level game throughout. High intensity, up and down lacrosse. This has been a ton of fun. Balin, couple of assists, no goals yet today. His skip pass intercepted by Brennan Greenwald.
Nice job by Greenwald, just kind of sitting in that skip lane. Right, inverts are dangerous to a defense because you assume that you're going to have to slide to that dodger, and then that opens up those lanes for cuts or skip passes, and a skip pass is devastating to any defense. So a nice job there by Greenwald.
Getting all the offensive personnel here on for Drexel as the clock ticks under 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. Chance for the Dragons to pull back even. Tomac spins, and he finds plenty of blue jerseys, now picked up by the pole. After scoring 4 goals a week ago, Stony Brook knows exactly where number 47 is.
Yeah, and a nice job just defending his re-dodge. That's where Tomac is strong. It's not necessarily off the first one.
As he gets free, is Donnelly there for the backup. Under 20 seconds on this shot clock for the Dragons. Tomac splits a couple, has it taken out of his stick, and Stony Brook is there, but a flag was down.
Yep.
And we will get a penalty.
Holding there on Stony Brook. I think my favorite attribute of Tomac is his physicality on his dodges. Right, he's listed at about 6'2", 180, and he uses his body really, like, for as physical as he is, when he gets in, his ability to bounce away too and then create offense. And then there, obviously, you know, long possession, you're kind of stalling a little bit, you know, put your shoulder down into a guy and see what happens right there. He draws a foul, and Drexel will be man up.
So we'll see if Drexel can cash it in. 0 for 3 today on the extra man. 9 man-up goals on the season coming in. Right around 30% now on the year. Tomac has been the guy in the extra man. 5 of them this year. This time, though, it's Curcio. He flashes to the middle, and we're tied at 11.
Sean Curcio had an opportunity earlier in this game. Remember, Travis came off that action and kind of threw up a gumball to McLaughlin, who stuffed him. And here he just passes it forward, times up a nice cut. And Donnelly starting to fill up the stat sheet there for Drexel with that assist to go along with his 4 goals.
Yeah, Donnelly now 5 points today. Showing you why he leads this team in points And going Drexel's way. Whistle on Conlon.
Yeah, might have been maybe leaving the box too early there. Procedure on Stony Brook.
So Drexel ball back tied up at 11. This third quarter has been a quarter of runs. We saw the 3 in a row for Drexel to take the lead, then 3 in a row for Stony Brook to go up by 2. And now a response by the Dragons.
Yeah, we are in a battle here.
Drexel content to take some time off the clock here at the end of the quarter.
Yep, kind of an awkward amount in between that shot clock and that game clock. So you just want a really good look here, right? Run your offense. You've been getting great shots.
Trying to force that into Semple was Donnelly. Somehow he gets it back. Holy skies for it. But we have a whistle that's going against Drexel. Stony Brook ball. And it will be a free clear.
Yeah, it's got to be goalie interference, right? If they're calling it a free clear.
Yeah. Wiped out what is a great play by the freshman Hooley, who skied up to win that loose ball.
All right, last look here for Stony Brook. Maybe if you have a nice flow here, you can work into if your players are comfortable. If not, then you're just kind of looking for who has a good matchup. And it seems like Stony Brook will be good to initiate here with Carlo. He's done a good job of that, just kind of party starting for Stony Brook and drawing doubles and moving the ball on.
The freshman sends it behind. Back out top, Anderson. Couple of goals, both in the first half, as it's Greenwald who gets his stick in the passing lane. Long pass ahead. 3 seconds left. Drexel just going to try to heave it, but they won't get a shot off. And that is how this third quarter will end. The way this game is played out, it seems fitting that we are tied up as we go to the final frame. 11-11 here in our CAA Game of the Week. Fourth quarter coming up from Philly. Well, this has been as good as advertised. Two teams coming in 3-0 in conference play, and we are all tied up at 11 apiece as we start the final quarter. Travis Eldridge, Marcus Holman back with you. Stony Brook goes early on that first draw of the fourth, and so it's the Dragons that will get the first possession of the final quarter.
And Drexel coming in to this fourth quarter with sloppier play, but they have the advantage winning faceoffs and making more saves in the goalie position, right? Stony Brook hasn't had as many turnovers. They've had a lot more shots. So it's kind of been a tale of two ways to get to 11 goals. And anything could happen here in this fourth.
Mulcahy tiptoes the crease. Now Donnelly goes to the air. Well, it counts. No, he was in the crease. They really stepped in as he was taking off. Goal wiped off. That's the second goal that's been wiped off for Drexel, but they quickly get it back. Semple pressuring.
Wow, it looked like I feel like they called Donnelly for stepping in the crease. He might go again right here. He's got a shorty on him.
Yeah, it wasn't the landing because it looked like the goal was off. The shot was off in time. It was the original takeoff when he stepped in. Donnelly's got it back. He's got a short stick on him. They're quickly going to try to adjust to that, the Stony Brook defense. Skip pass, looking for Tomac as he retreats to collect. Still lots of time on the shot clock for the Dragons. Connor Hooley, the attackman now with the short stick matchup. Freshman looking for some room. Shot wide by Tomac. The backup there, 25 seconds left on this shot clock for Drexel.
David Miel Estrella on defense here, doing a good job on ball.
Joyner trying to spin back to the left. Bouncer hits the official to keep it in play.
Oh, wow.
5 seconds. Shot clock winding down, and it's Augustine who gives the Dragons a lead at 12-11.
You got to play the ball as it lies. An errant shot off of the ref's foot gives Drexel the opportunity to just continue play here. And you can see the shot clock winding down the top part of your screen. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. And wow, what a timely goal by Augustine. That's huge. Just making a play there.
6th goal of the season for Augustine, his 2nd of the day. The face-off X, Stony Brook sends Mitchell out there, and he wins the draw. So a rotation between Conlon and Mitchell.
Big win.
For Stony Brook, Dylan Palinetti, 3 assists today, but no goals. That 38-game scoring streak, the longest in the country, currently in jeopardy for the Seawolves star. I think he doesn't really care as long as they come out with a win. Button feeds back top of the box. Anderson steps down, and we're tied at 12.
Very impressive here from Matt Anderson.
I mean, the midfielder with his 3rd of the day. Talked about him in the open and just gave him too much room there at top of the box.
Yeah, and Button on the assist too, driving that lefty alley. I like the way Anderson just kind of I think he froze Blumenthal in that triple threat position, just kind of like faking. And I feel like he threw him off his rhythm there, shooting in that kind of deceptive motion. So impressive goals on both ends. In both these teams, we are locked and loaded here.
Another face-off win for Mitchell. So Stony Brook maybe has found something there. And this in a game where we've seen a lot of face-offs. You talk about 24 combined goals plus all the start of the quarters. Joseph being the only face-off guy for Drexel. When Stony Brook sending 2 guys out there, you start to see, does the wear and tear get to the Drexel face-off man?
Yeah, I mean, you figure it has to, right? Like, unless you're, Trevor Baptiste or Joe Nardella, like, who seemingly do not get tired even at the professional level. It seems like that would be a wear and tear issue.
Palinetti, there it is. 39 straight games with a goal, and he puts Stony Brook back in front by 1.
And probably at the most inopportune time, we're talking about face-off guys, kind of a scramble situation where Palinetti, he's just pressed out in the corner. But this is what great players do, right? They take what the defense gives them. If you're going to press me out and play me all the way out by the sideline, I'm just going to run by you. In lacrosse, sometimes we overcomplicate it with schemes and movements and motions and blah, blah, blah. But you just got to run by your guy and score the ball. And Palinetti can do that with the best of them.
And Joseph showing you, maybe you heard us talking about, hey, he might be tired. He promptly wins it forward, and he gets his team a possession.
Yeah, what do I know? I'm like I said, I'm not the face-off expert. That's Mr. Greg Renlian.
And so it's Jack Mulcahy, the midfielder, who inverts his man. Waller spinning back. Semple, twister shot, goes high of the goal. Back up there is Hooley.
Semple's been pretty aggressive today, again, for his game, which is more finishing. I like the way he's moving, dodging, cutting. He does a lot for this Drexel offense.
Working behind is Curcio. Scored a big goal here in this second half on the man up. Waller draws some Attention, Donnelly. The near side, skip pass back outside. McLaughlin the save, resets the shot clock.
Yep, reset. Get organized.
Hooley was there for the rebound. Now Waller dodging. That was read perfectly by Christian Loud. And then smooth moves from Miel Estrella.
Loud, another big play on the defensive end for Stony Brook. It seemed like they were reeling a little bit after that reset. You know, Drexel draws another double team. And I think if Loud doesn't make that play, it looks like Drexel's probably going to get a shot off. So, huge stop.
So Stony Brook, as the clock ticks under 9 minutes to go, as a 1-goal lead and the possession.
And where do you go here with the ball? That midfield for Stony Brook's had a lot of success today. Palinetti just netted one, so maybe he's feeling confident. I think let's try to get him the ball.
This is Button. Rolls near side. Now he draws the pole. Coming over there to help is Patrick Udovich. Now Palinetti. Got Gukwa on him again as he shoots high. Can't say enough about the sophomore Gukwa from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. Played at Bishop Shanahan. He's done a good job on Palinetti. Palinetti didn't score against him. Oh, backhand. Oh. Huber fakes the under between the legs. Balin shoots. Jumping as the shot clock's winding down. They wave it off. Wasn't going to count. Didn't go anyway.
Some high-level lacrosse going on, both offensively and defensively for these teams. We're seeing shovel passes, fake between the legs. A little bit of everything.
Greenwald just brings it across midfield himself. And now the offensive personnel gets on for Drexel. This is the Dragons team in that kind of unsettled situation. They like to get some early offense going. Augustine. Now Hooley working for Max.
Yep, and Drexel's had success this quarter just moving the ball like they are now, changing their dodging angles and then finding Donnelly.
Shot from Semple, saved by McLaughlin, rebound into the Stony Brook stick. Big hit, Hooley has it, it's loose again. And now a whistle and a call on the Seawolves. That was Dane Rita who took a shot.
Hooley on the hit. Clean and legal kind of hip check.
And so the junior will come off for Stony Brook. He's obviously frustrated. Good news is he looks to be all right.
Yeah, the tensions are starting to flare here, Travis.
First ever meeting, and I have a feeling that we might be starting a budding rivalry here in the CAA.
You love to see it, right? Two hard-nosed programs, toughness, ground balls.
And you're seeing the sharpness you get once you get into April in conference play. I mean, both these offenses, they have been in rhythm. It is free-flowing. This has been really fun lacrosse.
Yep. Players making plays, and we'll see who steps up here with 7 minutes left.
Mulcahy has Tomac on the skip pass, but he hooked it up high.
That's the look they scored on earlier. Very similar. I think Tomac should have just maybe let that one fly a little bit earlier. That might have gotten deflected.
Mulcahy. Still lots of time as that shot clock completely reset to 80. As it's stolen away by Christian Loud. You said his name a lot today.
Yeah, he's stepping up big time, knocking passes down. Huge stop there for Stony Brook.
He clears it himself.
It seems like Loud is look at him getting hyped coming off the field. You love that.
So here we go. Just over 6 minutes left. Still 13-12 Stony Brook with possession.
And Travis, we talked earlier about, Coach Gallardi and the Stony Brook team just being denied a chance to compete for extra games last year in the playoffs. You can just kind of feel that passion for them. Not that Drexel's not playing with that energy, but certainly means a lot to these guys at Stony Brook.
Palinetti, a jump shot way high. And I believe there was a flag down, so we're going to see a man-up opportunity for Stony Brook with under 6 minutes to go and a 1-goal advantage.
Interesting. I didn't quite catch what the call might have been. Travis, I don't know if you heard anything.
Yeah, working on getting an answer for you here. It is man-up Stony Brook.
I see 1 minute on the penalty time, so maybe a slash or cross-check, yep.
Call is on Donnelly, so it happened in that clear on the other end of the field. So the attackman goes to the box.
Palinetti, top center.
He's got him. Blumenthal with a big save.
Wow. And we're seeing just patterns throughout this game, right? One that we just saw there is Stony Brook running the same man-up play, double cutters. Palinetti floats out to that top center spot. Had his hands free earlier, shot low to high. Blumenthal stuffed him. This one he brings back low, and Blumenthal wins that matchup again. So you as a fan and as a commentator watching this game, there's so many little micro battles that happen all over the field, right? Face-off guys, a defenseman on an attack move. But then there's also like shooters versus the goalies, which is a fun little mini rivalry in the game itself. And Blumenthal stepping up big there for Drexel.
11 saves now for Blumenthal as the penalty's released. Donnelly back onto the field for Drexel, back to even strength. Can they use the momentum of the man-down save and tie this game up? Mulcahy somehow stays out of the crease and somehow got that feed to Tomac. Tomac, jump shot!
Wow.
He threw a little knuckler. We're tied at 13. It was almost like an off-speed pitch.
Yeah, didn't quite see. Hey, they don't ask how, Travis. They ask how many. And it might have gotten tipped on that release. But Tomac continues to step up and make big plays for Drexel, redshirt sophomore out of Connecticut. He seems like the driver of this. I know Donnelly's the quarterback behind the cage, but it just seems like Tomac is drawing so much attention up in front of the goal, dodging and finishing. He's such a presence up there for this Drexel offense.
Joseph wins the clamp. Now he picks up the loose ball. Now the difficult part, can they get this across? It was really good stick work by Joseph after he won the clamp through a bunch of blue jerseys to get this possession for Drexel. But only 3 seconds to get it over, and they do.
Yep, and you see those situations like are what you have to rep out in practice, and it's difficult as college players to like focus on those little details. Like we're practicing face-off win-back clearing, like this is boring, but in games like this, you win a face-off back with 4 minutes left. You've got to be able to execute, get to your spots, and a nice job by Drexel there.
Joyner spins back. He's got Hooley. Now on the wing, it's Curcio. Feeds down to the doorstep. Donnelly up top. And Drexel's in front, 14-13.
Donnelly. With his 5th of the game. He is just dominating the crease area for this Drexel offense today. He scored righty, lefty, right? Just rolling the crease. Playing that kind of like Eric Law, Steele Stanwyck style around the cage. And, man, he's taking advantage of all his opportunities today.
Joseph with a big face-off win, but once again, a lot of pressure from Stony Brook. Palinetti able to pick up the ground ball eventually. And he saves it over his head. He's unsettled. Look out. D. Mitty will get into the offensive personnel for Stony Brook, who now find themselves down by 1.
Huge ground ball and possession there. I think no need to call timeout. Get organized here. Run your offense.
Nearing 2:30 to play. Somebody's going to get to 4-0 in conference and be tied with Delaware in the top of the standings down the stretch of the CAA season with 3 games to go after today. Armitage. Now Blake Balin working from X. That one hits somebody in the helmet. The backup stays with the Seawolves.
Got to be Palinetti here. Looks like they're shutting him off.
Anderson trying to get a hand free. Never got a good feel on that shot.
Here we go. Palinetti, 13 seconds left. Timeout?
And
yeah.
Timeout. I think I heard White. I believe this is a timeout for Drexel.
Yeah.
They want to talk things over. Coach Brian Volker knows how important this defensive stand is with 13 seconds on this shot clock and 2 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, interesting timeout. I mean, I know it's important to get organized, but this also allows Stony Brook, to draw something up here. 13 seconds left. You have plenty of time to move the ball twice, 3 times, and get a look. It'll be interesting to see what they go with here. I imagine it's going to be Palinetti picking it up, maybe trying to get him switched onto a short stick, whether it's through a big little pick. Let him kind of drive up on that lefty wing. And then you're looking for Anderson to be a shooter. Huber has 4 goals on the day. He's got to be in there for Stony Brook on offense.
Well, a chance to remind you that we've got more college lacrosse coming for you on Thursday. Our CAA game of the week schedule takes us to Towson, Maryland, where Denver head coach Bill Tierney and the Pioneers visiting the Tigers, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Thursday night, right here on Lacrosse TV. That should be a terrific one, just as we're seeing here today. A 1-goal game down the stretch. It is Stony Brook ball, 13 seconds left on this shot clock. And it is Palinetti who will start with it in the corner, defended by Colin Gukwa. 2 of them been dueling it out all day. Palinetti gets a shot off and he scores! They're tied at 14. The Seawolves star does it.
And who else besides Dylan Palinetti? Big-time players step up in big-time games. And a nice job on the pick. Ooh. Oh, my gosh. Just absolutely paints that top left corner. I'm sure Coach Volker and Coach Durkin are livid at the officials right now. Potentially a moving pick there.
Oh, what a takeaway. Loud. Twigs Joseph, and
Wow.
Stony Brook gets the possession. Joseph won the faceoff, but Christian Loud with a heck of a play. And the Seawolves have the ball. Just over 90 seconds to play in a tie game.
Yep, and I think as a coach, maybe just run down some of this clock and then potentially take a timeout. I think Stony Brook has both of their timeouts, so that way you can kind of organize this end of shot clock situation. I'm not sure you want to be going to the goal right now.
They do have one. Palinetti has it taken away. Ball is loose on the carpet.
Oh, there's a timeout.
Oh, man, what a timeout call. They had one left. Remember, they used one early in the third quarter when Drexel made their run to stop the momentum. So Anthony Gallardi knew he had one left, and he uses it here, and it saves the possession. It is gigantic.
Wow.
So here we go, a minute 10 seconds in regulation, 44 seconds on this shot clock for the Seawolves. I mean, we've seen Dylan Palinetti here in the fourth quarter. Both of his goals have been very similar. It's one-on-one.
Yep.
This is my matchup, and I'm going to win it. And
No
you
doubt.
wonder if you're Stony Brook, do you just try to put the ball in his hands and see if he can do it again?
I feel like, Travis, you have to, right? As a coach in this situation, you got to think players and not plays, right? And right now, your best player is Dylan Palinetti, and, he probably has to start with the ball in his stick here, and this is where it gets kind of funky, right? Because there's 44 seconds on the shot clock. Like, if he goes right away and they don't score, then you're giving Drexel an opportunity to come down and potentially win the game, in regulation. Or do you just go and you're aggressive and, say whatever? Or do you try to like milk some more clock here, right? So it'll be interesting what, assistant coach Chanichuk comes up with here in the huddle.
So here we go. Two teams, both winners of 4 in a row, both unbeaten in conference play, and nothing separating the two of them with just over a minute to play here in regulation.
Yeah, and here's Button with it, and Button was the pick setter on Palinetti's last goal. So I wonder if those two will be working together again. It looks like they will be. Palinetti's kind of circling up here by the restrainer.
Yeah. They want to see how much time they can take off this clock while also still getting a good look. You don't want to give Drexel a ton of time back the other way. Button, full head of steam. He spins back. Udovich got a stick in there. Patrick Udovich has it on the deck, and he comes up with a ground ball for Drexel. What a play.
Push it.
Under 30 seconds for Grippo. Palinetti is back on the defensive end, and we will get a timeout for Drexel with 19 seconds to play. So the Seawolves had their chance to take the lead. Now it's Drexel's turn.
Wow. And obviously, that's where like the clock and the gamesmanship kind of comes in there, because if you're Stony Brook, you're like, yikes, that was not a good possession at all, right, in terms of what they were able to accomplish. But, we kind of took a lot of time off the clock, and now Drexel has to somewhat rush to get a play off. But, I mean, I think if you're Stony Brook, with a tie game, you'd want to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, they took a lot of time off that clock.
Yeah.
And so now for the Dragons, you've got Stephen Boyle, their offensive coordinator. I mean, the plus side for him, you look at the options. I mean, Donnelly obviously has had a big game, but Tomac can shoot. I mean, the goal scoring has been really spread out for this team. There are a lot of options if you're this Dragons offense.
Yeah, I got two options for Drexel. I got Mulcahy to Tomac on that kind of skip pass look, where Mulcahy's been driving that righty alley and skipping it through to Tomac, or I have, a wing dodge, a low wing dodge, pushing the ball through X to Donnelly, who can look to feed and throw skip passes. So we'll see kind of how this shakes out for Drexel. But, man, what a finish we've got here.
It is Mulcahy who starts with it. He gets the short stick matchup. 16 seconds left. He hits the deck. No whistle. He moves it along. Donnelly back out top. Shot. Saved by McLaughlin. And now we get the flag. It's a 30-second call. And you almost wonder if the Dragons should have just tried to throw that ball out of bounds to get more time on the clock.
Oh, man, they caught a hold on that. And I thought that was great defense on Mulcahy with the short stick. I didn't quite catch that number.
I think it was Miele Estrella, who's had a great game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that was, I don't know.
So with 7 seconds left.
Yeah, you just hold it and you'll take possession moving into overtime.
There's some confusion on where the ball was. Donnelly, I think, was like, hey, maybe we get a quick one here. And it's actually going to be on that far side with Augustine to trigger it in. And, I mean, yeah, you can hold this for overtime, essentially.
Yep.
Get a man-up face-off in the extra session, and that, it appears, is what Drexel's going to do. The clock hasn't started. Now it does.
Just run it out. Yeah. And what a huge save by McLaughlin there. Let's not overlook that. Standing strong in cage. That probably would have ended the game. So, wow. Overtime, we go.
We've got more lacrosse here on Lacrosse TV. 60 minutes, not enough. We've got overtime between Stony Brook and Drexel, tied up at 14. Back here for overtime from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Here at Vitus Field, nothing separating Stony Brook and Drexel. Both their teams that have won 4 in a row, both 3-0 in CAA play. And it'll be the Dragons who will start with the possession here in overtime, as there was a penalty called in the final 15 seconds of regulation on Stony Brook. And so it is Drexel ball here to start overtime with the man advantage.
And if you're just joining us, welcome. You've come at the right time. This has been an incredible matchup. Plays being made all over the field, goalies, face-off guys, poles, one-handed assists, you name it. We've had it all today. And Drexel now with a huge advantage, obviously an extra guy. And we'll see what they've got drawn up here. A lot of options you mentioned. Curcio has had 2 shots on man up today. He had 1 saved earlier. He scored in the second half, so he's been a factor for Drexel. Obviously, Donnelly around the crease. He's got 5 on the day. Tomac's a heavy righty. Semple the lefty.
Jack Clark is starting with the ball, the sophomore from Springfield, Pennsylvania. I don't know if I've seen him on the field all day.
Yeah. I was just, again, scrolling down the stat sheet, so maybe they're bringing in the closer.
So here we go. Extra man here to start overtime. Donnelly, Tomac playing pitch and catch here at the top of the box. Now Mulcahy working from behind the cage. Tomac trying to kind of sneak inside. Back to Donnelly.
Got to be close to released here, right?
Tomac. Donnelly, and now we're back to even strength. So Stony Brook kills off the penalty. However, Drexel still 20 seconds on the possession clock here. Mulcahy spins. Mulcahy finds the side of the net.
Wow.
Stony Brook gets to stop to start overtime. Here comes Loud. Dylan Palinetti will run into the attacking zone. And he was checking with the sideline to see if there was an timeout call. Instead, it'll just be, they'll play it out. This midfield line has been good for Stony Brook. 5 combined goals between Armitage, Anderson, and Button. Step down shot for Anderson never got through, and it's Udovich with the ground ball. So both teams come up with a stop in overtime.
Yeah, Udovich, Charlie Molly, number 22 on ball there. Might have been his knockdown. Either way. Oh, man.
Ball back in Mulcahy's stick, the reigning CAA Offensive Player of the Year. He's got 3 points today.
Yep. Watch the skip pass to Tomac coming here.
Here is Mulcahy. Joyner to Semple, and he wins it! The Canadian second of the day, and Drexel wins it in overtime.
What a game. What a finish. And it's Semple, the Canadian, with that snappy release from his home, his lefty home. Right, it's Mulcahy that party starts. He draws 2. Right, they move the ball quickly to Joyner, who knows exactly where Semple's going to be. And it's tic-tac-toe for the Drexel Dragons.
What a game. The first ever meeting between Stony Brook and Drexel in program history. And it is an absolute thriller, back and forth throughout. Both teams had advantages in this game, but in the end, it's Drexel who wins it just a couple of minutes into the overtime session, 15-14 your final. And Marcus, this was as good as advertised. 2 unbeaten teams coming in conference play, and they gave us everything we were expecting.
No doubt. And obviously, Drexel with the win now sits atop the CAA with Delaware. So they put themselves in a good position for that high seed. That is a difference maker when it comes to this conference championship to have home field advantage. But I think if you're Stony Brook too, it's like you can also use this as motivation. And I think you can still hang your head high knowing that you played a great team really close. I think you had opportunities to win, right? I think you look at that possession in overtime, you get Matt Anderson on a step down, right? If that shot doesn't get blocked, maybe it goes in, you win the game. So you're just a play or two away. But Drexel, I think between the face-off and goalie play might have been the difference in the deciding factor today.
Well, we're going to learn a lot in the next 2 weeks. Next week, Stony Brook hosts Delaware in a gigantic showdown. That is going to be a big game. 2 weeks from today, it's Drexel at Delaware. So these next 2 weeks between these 3 teams that are currently atop the standings, we're going to learn a lot as to who will host this CAA tournament. But for today, it is Drexel getting to 4-0 in conference play. They're now 7-3 overall as Max Semple, his second of the day, 4 points on the day for the Canadian, his second goal of the day, the game winner here in overtime. But that's going to do it for us here in our CAA Game of the Week. For Marcus Holman and our entire crew, I'm Travis Eldridge. We say so long from Philadelphia. We'll see you Thursday night from Towson, Maryland as Denver comes to town. Thanks for watching.